The question is, what would be a great agile consulting outcome for a customer? And that's an interesting question, because I think it's different for every customer, right? But it ultimately comes down to trying to think of the right words and the right phrasing. It it comes down to being able to consistently deal with surprise. I'm not sure that's the best way to describe it, right? But the reality of the world is that things are changing and happening all the time. And businesses have two types of surprises they can have. There's positive surprises and negative surprises. Positive surprises they want to be able to take advantage of. Negative surprises they want to be able to, like, let's make sure that doesn't mess with us. And though because they're surprises, you don't know what they're going to be, you don't know when they're going to happen. You have to have a system that is able to roll with it. And most organizations are very, very rigid. So an ideal outcome for an agile consulting engagement is that the organization has less bureaucracy and more adaptability, right? I mean, that's ultimately what organizations are trying to do. The difficulty is that there's two fundamental constructs that seem to be mutually exclusive, and it's very hard to move from one to the other, and it's very easy to move from the other to the one, right? This is the bit that's difficult, is that you have that Tayloristic type of organization, which is top-down command and control, 18th century industrial revolution thinking, right? That's their model, that pyramid model. And then you've got organizations all the way over on the other side, which are fewer in number, who are completely decentralized, node-based organizations, where the people making the decisions are the people that are up close to the market. Whereas in the pyramid organizations, the people making the decisions are furthest away from the market, right? The CEO, one of my favorite quotes is from Simon Sinek. Yes, absolutely, Simon Sinek. So one of my favorite quotes is from Simon Sinek, and he talked about speaking to a CEO and saying to the CEO, or the CEO saying, I know what my customers want. And Simon says to him, well, you haven't spoken to a customer in 15 years. How would you know what they wanted? And that's the person that's furthest away from the market is making all of the decisions. Whereas in the node-based organization, the CEO is at the center providing services to the organization. He's the cost center, right? The CEO, or he or she, the CEO is the cost center. And the rest of the organization is the value creation, and they're interacting directly with the market, invoicing, getting money from the customers. So ultimately, the ultimate goal is to move from that top-down Tayloristic organization towards this node-based, people-orientated, well, it's Mary Follett, so I guess Follett, I don't know, organization, some kind of thing over here. But it's very hard to move from Tayloristic to Follettistic, okay? But really easy to fall back the other way, because all you need is for rigor mortis to set in to move back to that rigid top-down model, because that's what it is. And one of the things that I think a successful agile consultant will do is work with people in that organization to help them have a more flexible mindset. So from top down, left to right, at all levels, you want every single person in your organization to be thinking about, how do I remain nimble? How do I remain adaptable? How do I stave off the rigor mortis, right? That is bureaucracy. And that needs to be in every part of the organization. It's not a something that you can just hire somebody in and they install in your organization. It's every single individual in your organization needs to be part of that story. So successful Agile consulting looks like building understanding in the organization, building tools that people in the organization can use to remain nimble, otherwise they'll fall back to the age-old tools that everybody talks about, and not being there full time, right? It's almost like a crutch when somebody is there full time. It's a crutch for the organization. They need to learn to stand on their own. They need to learn to make their own mistakes. So that, I know that probably doesn't really answer that question of what does it look like, right? But I think what it looks like is different in every organization. I could articulate what it looks like at Microsoft, although they're only some way along that transition towards that goal. In every organization, it's completely different, and it's so different because their market is different, their products are different, their people are different. There's no one right way to answer that question.